Okay, so the first Six Nations match of Super Saturday is finished. Scotland 26, Italy 14. It literally came down to the last minute and a breakaway Scottish try. Scotland's game management in the second half was poor. What is very interesting from this game is both sides were more keen to run the ball than kick the ball, which is refreshing. Italy, a little bit less accurate when trying to run the ball from deep than Scotland, played themselves into trouble. There is a yellow card in there. I felt the scrum area was just a mess all day. I think the referee handled that badly. You couldn't really tell who was at fault in any scrum that went down, really. It resulted in a yellow card for the Italians. I think that is where the game is won, is that 10-minute spell where they're down to 14. The exhaustion, the amount of defence, I think, has told. Blair Kinghorn has had a fantastic match with 3 tries to his name. Man of the match, in my opinion. The final try is ridiculous. The Italian try is also ridiculous. Van der Merwe, I think he responded this week after a poor game against Ireland. He was much better. Hugh Jones didn't get a lot of ball, which I found very, very interesting. And the game management wasn't great by either side. That is another thing that is very, very interesting. The Italians too often trying to run the ball. Sometimes when they did kick, actually they were more effective kicking with their kick chase and their kick pressure. They overplayed too much. On the Scotland side of things, after the third try, their game management in that second half allowed Italy to really push it down to the final whistle. Literally, the Scottish game management, it doesn't matter, I don't think, who the starting fly half is or who the starting inside centre is or scrum half. Those key playmaking positions, the game management by Scotland was poor. They got away with one in that sense. So let's break it down. Italy take the lead first with a Tommy Allen penalty on 7 minutes. Then Man de Verve gets his try on 12 minutes. Tommy Allen gets another penalty on 15 minutes. And at this point, neither side's really established themselves. It's after the second Allen penalty that Scotland basically now camp in the Italian half for the majority of the first half at this point. The yellow card comes from repeated scrum infringements. And it's only the third scrum of the game. And there's third or fourth scrum of the game, and there's a yellow card. Now, the first scrum of the game comes on about 25 minutes. Riccone is the player who unfortunately ends up getting sin-binned. What is very interesting, the first scrum following that, Scotland give away penalties, so there was no consistency at scrum area, in my opinion. The scrum was a mess. Even if Scotland was slightly dominant in the front row, it was a mess from the first scrum to the final scrum. But what is interesting also, as soon as that yellow card is given, Blair Kinghorn gets his first try off first phase. That was on 30 minutes. Then the Italians come back with 14 men. They're pushing down the other end. They don't get any points from that attempt down Scotland 22. So Scotland didn't fully take advantage, I don't think, of that extra man advantage, but the exhaustion, the amount of defending the Italians have had to do, I think clearly takes its toll. Second half, so it's 12-6 at half-time. Second half, Scotland start brightly to begin with. Blair Kinghorn gets his second try in 44 minutes. And then the game management disappears by Scotland. They're in a very commanding position. The Italians are out on their feet. The Scottish aren't much further behind with being out on their feet. Both sides wanting to kick the ball in play. There's a lack of kicking. There's none of this kick tennis that we see a lot of. There was a lot of running from deep. The handling errors, I think, have cost Italy. Some missed kicks have cost Italy. I think, had they converted some of those missed kicks, we have a slightly different scoreline. We have a slightly different game. There was a missed penalty from Tommy Allen. But the Tommy Allen try comes from the Italians having a lot of the ball. Again, they're wanting to play at a fast pace. You can see their DNA in what they're trying to do. And they do have a youth production line that is coming through right now. So the future looks bright. Scotland and Italy battling at the breakdown. There's a lot of turnovers. Both sides really fighting that area. But because of the pace of the game and the ball being in play a lot, the exhaustion, the fatigue, it was going to be who was the fittest team, I think, won this game. Because Tommy Allen scores on 62 minutes. He misses the conversion. That is proven crucial. Garbisi slots a penalty 4 minutes later. So now, Scotland, 19-6 up, are now 19-14 up. and they've lost control of the game. The Italians are now on the front foot. The momentum is going the Italians' way. It's handling errors at the vital time. The penalty count for Scotland is now too high. Now, were they lucky not to, with 3 quick penalties in a row, not to be down to 14 men? That's where I think refereeing consistency and interpretation of what is an official warning, what isn't, is going to be key. So, from the final scrum, Scotland run it. Instead of just kicking it dead, because it's gone 80 minutes, they run it. Van der Merwe running up the wing. Blair Kinghorn in support after a brutal, and it was a brutal game, because the ball was in play for so long, with both sides wanting to run from deep. That try, I think, is possibly the try of the tournament so far, in my personal opinion. Very similar to what Italy did against Wales last year, in a very similar situation in the final game, where they scored a very similar try. I don't know what it is about rugby union basically taking things from rugby league, because the Tommy Allen try and the Blair Kinghorn try, the third one, are rugby league-esque style tries. But it was a very nervy last 10 minutes. Thoroughly entertaining game. Was it the best game of the tournament? No. Was it scrappy, feisty? Was there commitment? Yes. I felt the referee got scrum time wrong with his officiating, and that's, I don't like to bag the referees, but I think that was an area where you could question some of the decisions. The second Blair Kinghorn try, that is a poor call by the referee for the infringement that leads to the penalty that leads to the kick to touch. It's proven to be not a penalty when you're looking at replays and listening to Nigel Owens in commentary as well. That's not a penalty. I don't know what the referee's seen there. The Italian players clearly released the ball, let go, rolled away, and then the next player's gone in and jackled it perfectly legally. So I think with that second Blair Kinghorn try, with that preceding penalty, I think Scotland get lucky. Their game management let them down a little bit in the second half. Italy, their handling, unforced handling errors have let them down, and missed kicks at goal. But that final Blair Kinghorn try, I think that sums up how Scotland want to play, and sums up how Italy, how they want to play, and how they've unfortunately played. But this Italian side, you have to admit, they don't go away. They were in that for the entire 80 minutes. That was a battle. Scotland are the clear third best team in the Northern Hemisphere. They get a bonus point win as well. Italy, they could have won that game because Scotland nearly threw it away. So it came down to the final play. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comment section below. And we'll obviously have the France-Wales game match review next. And of course, the big one. Can Ireland get the Grand Slam against England? Thank you very much for watching. And I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.